Hare Krishna. Welcome to my Radha Madhav channel. I'm so excited to be presenting to you all some selected verses from the Gita, right? Let me start with the Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalaakaya Chakshushamilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminidhi Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Vasharadeshatarine. Hare Krishna. People are too unhappy, right, demotivated in the present times, right? So they don't know what is the real happiness, right? See, there are different degrees of happiness. We feel, we are not ourselves sometimes clear, like what is it that we really want, or what is it that it's really going to bring us happiness and joy, right? So today's topic is such, like material happiness versus spiritual happiness. Okay, before getting into it, we should first understand what are these, right? And also be telling you a verse, Bhagavad Gita verse from the 6th chapter, right? So how to be intelligent enough to identify that and be happy always, that's what we are going to be seeing today. The happiness that we are experiencing in this material world is not at all real happiness. Example, if you ask a tree, right, are you feeling happy? The tree might say, yes, I'm happy standing here all the year. I'm enjoying the wind. I'm enjoying the snowfall. Very much, right? This may be enjoyed by the tree, but for the human beings, it's a very slow standard of enjoyment, right? There are different degrees of happiness, yet of all of them, what is the highest happiness? That's what we are going to see today. What is the highest happiness? Krishna tells Arjuna, right, in the 21st verse of the 6th chapter, Sukham atyantikam yathar buddhigrahyam atindriyam vetti yatra na chaivayam stitas chalati tatvatah. Sukham atyantikam yathar buddhigrahyam atindriyam vetti yatra na chaivayam stitas chalati tatvatah. Right? What is Krishna telling here? Sukham, we all know, it's happiness, right? Atyantikam, supreme. Buddhi is intelligence, right? Atindriyam is something like which is transcendental. Correct? So let's see the meaning. In that joyous state, samadhi state or trance state, one is situated in transcendental happiness and enjoys himself through transcendental senses. Thus one never departs from the truth, right? So here Krishna is telling, what he is explaining here, buddhi means intelligence, right? So one has to be intelligent if you want to enjoy, right? So do animals have that intelligence? They don't have the developed intelligence. So they cannot enjoy life as much as how we human beings have, right? The hands, the nose, the eyes, and all the other sense organs and all the parts, bodily parts present in a dead person. Can he enjoy? No, right? He cannot enjoy. Why? Because the enjoying energy, the spiritual spark has left, and therefore the body has no power anymore, right? So if you think more deeply on this, you can understand it was a body which was enjoying all the while. It was not the body, but the small spiritual spark, right, that was within the body that was enjoying. So the real enjoyer is that spark. So what happens when the spark leaves the body? The body simply deteriorates. Another term here Krishna has given, atindriyam. What is that? It means we have to transcend these material senses before we can experience the actual real happiness, right? So here is also given an example of a man who did not know what was sugarcane, right? So he kept on asking someone and everybody around, what is that meaning? What is it? What is that sugarcane? I don't know about that. And someone told him it is very sweet to chew, and all that. So what does it look like? He kept on asking. So he didn't know. So someone told him it looks like a bamboo rod. So what happened? The foolish man thought it really that is a sugarcane, and he starts to chew the all kinds of bamboo rods. So how can he begin to experience the sweetness of sugarcane in this case, right? Similarly, we are trying to get happiness and pleasure, but we are trying them by chewing in this material body. Therefore, there is no happiness or pleasure really, and because it is temporary, right? So the process for establishing oneself in the real happiness mode is in the process of Krishna consciousness. By Krishna consciousness, we can gradually develop a real intelligence and enjoy the relishing spiritual happiness, and naturally we abandon the false material happiness, right? Even in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is quoted that material world is compared to a great ocean, right? Great is the biggest, Atlantic, Pacific, all oceans of mercy. It's a repeat of birth and death, right? So in order to cross this great ocean of miseries, a strong boat is needed, right? And what is that strong boat? The strong boat is the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna. So we should immediately get aboard that boat, and we should not hesitate thinking that Krishna's feet are very small. No, the whole universe is simply resting on his leg. For one who takes shelter of his feet, it is said that the material universe is no more significant than a puddle of water found in the impression of a calf's footprint, right? You know how the calf's footprint is too small, right? So that is no more significant. Then that is what is the analogy is given here. There is no difficulty in crossing over such a small puddle, right? And go back to the spiritual world for permanent happiness, where in the spiritual world, where every word is a song and every step is a dance, right? Thank you. I'll come up with another topic of discussion tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed today's topic as much as I did. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpataruptascha kripa sindhu bhayevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Srila Prabhupada ki